Welcome to
I'm
episode
sorry.
8.
Oh, you're going. Sorry.
Oh,
Go
welcome
ahead.
to episode 8. That's all I wanted to say.
Episode 8. All right, we're kicking it off recording together today. Claps in chat. There's no chat. Raise your hands in the comment section, I guess, since we're actually recording together at the beginning, and we are crossing our fingers that everything goes way better this time than it did last time. Today, we are working on the storage. What?
Hopefully we don't die. We're just building.
I
Especially in
think
creative.
I'd break my streak of dying in like every episode. So
I mean, we can do it then. We can do it.
we can do it.
We'll
We can
find a
do
way.
it. Yeah. You want to tell them what we're working on today?
So today we're working on this thing behind us. This is going to be our bulk storage. So over here, if you remember in our creative world, we had this giant tower that came up over here. So we're going to have up the corners, we're going to bring up items and somehow get them over here, probably through the mountain. And then we're going to store everything over here. So we'll have like a doorway right here. And I think we're going to have this be open on this side so we can just fly in whenever we want. And then in this back corner, we'll have like an elevator going from floor to floor. So we'll have iron on one, iron and poppies, I guess, on the same floor. Then we'll have sugarcane, bamboo. We might have one below this. Is that what the plan was? Because we didn't want to go
Yeah.
too far up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have one below this. That will be like whatever the other one is. Oh, gunpowder. Whenever we get that built.
Bamboo, sugarcane, gunpowder, iron, and poppies.
You made a sign.
4 floors for now. That's the 4 main farms that we have so far. Later on, I guess wool will probably come over here. Oh no, because the wool farm that we designed, we've got its own storage system right next to it. So
Yep.
That's the 4 main ones that we got right now. So that's the 4 storage things that we're gonna have, and then we will catch you guys up once we get something sort of going here. This is the first initial floor, but it's not the right materials yet. We're just sort of framing things out. So I guess we'll see you in a couple minutes for us, seconds for you. Grand reveal.
Oh, grand reveal.
You were already looking. Grand reveal. This is the back of my head.
Oh.
And ta-da! Here is what we're thinking. Trying to grab some colors that we used in the bridge to incorporate into this build so that it all matches. Looks like it's all built by the same people. A little bit of folklore, or just lore, I guess. It doesn't have to be folklore, but some lore to go into a story being told here with the village that we're creating. So we're grabbing similar materials to our houses, and then the bridge build is right next to it. With the spruce wood, the stone walls, and stone bricks and stuff like that.
But also,
yeah, go ahead.
As you can see, it sort of brings in how this building obviously came later because we have more materials like the wealthy iron blocks in here and the honey blocks and just the sheer number of chests, I guess.
Yeah, so we are currently overflowing with iron blocks, so I decided just to sort of throw them in here in the accent spots. We're using spruce gates to just look like structural pieces, but then sort of add some depth to the build, and it creates variation between the layers. So we're using it as the top layer, as well as this little separation where the ground level, between the ground level and the basement, quote unquote basement level. We have an elevator that's made of honey blocks here. Johnny might demonstrate. Here you go. The key here is that the honey blocks are less than 1 block. So if you actually jam your character all the way in to the corner, as Johnny's showing, you can get sucked up by the water column behind it. But then if you want to fall down, you can just stick to the other corner and then catch the honey block to slow yourself down. That'll take you from floor to floor as well as all the way up to the top, which is where we are currently growing all of our trees.
And we'll have to sort of rearrange this so it's not just in the middle of one of the corrals. But yeah, we'll definitely just rearrange all the trees so that it's just a nice entrance right here.
So the last little bit here, at least from my point of view, um, is what this would look like when we come up this main promenade. So if you're coming up from the lower village up to the bridge, you're going to see just the top 3 floors poking out over the bridge, and it blends right in with the corner of this mountain. We brought the land down on top of it to sort of tuck it in a little bit more, and then here you can just walk directly in. And then Johnny even pointed out to me while we were building that if you come down to this bottom floor, you get a nice view of that underside of the bridge that we mentioned you might never see again. Well, now you'll see it behind us as we whip around on this bottom floor. So this is what the storage is going to look like. One item for each floor, or one farm for each floor, so that we don't have to do a lot of redstone. And it'll just be piped in individually.
I'm starting to get a good view over here from my balcony.
From
I
your
got
balcony?
your house on the right, the storage on the left, bridge right in the middle,
Yeah,
mountains in the background.
nice composition.
Village is coming together.
Yeah, and then the last part will be that scaffolding eventually. Bring it up right in the middle. And that'll sort of seal off this view, which will be really nice. Really nice view. Okay, and here we are back on the normal world. So we've got our wings on. We can't double jump to fly, even though it's an exact copy. We've created everything in survival as you saw in that time lapse there. We've still got some scaffolding running up and down the sides because unfortunately we just don't have enough honey yet to get the elevator to the top of the farm, let alone to the top of the world. So there's still some minor details that we have to cover. Johnny's going to take care of some other things in the rest of this episode. What were those that you were going to take care
Oh,
of?
I was gonna finish the honey first off, so get all the rest of the honey. So probably just automate my bees. I'm gonna try to hook up on and off switches. So every level is gonna be different. So like the bottom, if we're getting too much iron, I could just switch off the iron farm, or let's say bamboo and sugarcane. If we need another one, be able to just push a button that automatically starts the sugarcane farm down there. And also just, I guess, hooking up those water streams all the way up to here.
Yeah, so it should be a busy weekend the rest of the time. I think my work is done. I'll sort of dress up around the outside here. Going to try and finish off landscaping the rest of this upper level around our homes in this episode. So by the end of this, it should be a pretty sweet view all the way through this housing layer, I guess is what we'll call it, this housing level. Um, and then slowly start moving our way down and building up this village and its infrastructure.
So that was a pretty fun build, and I think it looks pretty nice. And boy, do I have a lot to show you guys. So I did end up finishing this. We moved these in one, by the way, because we kept hitting. Well, they like stand out slightly, so if you try to get off, you would just hit the blocks and you couldn't actually get off, so you'd have to fall, and sometimes you'd miss. And anyways, it just makes it a lot easier to just slide off. And I've been working away, got all the honey that we need to go all the way up to the top. So to get all that honey, I had to do a lot of work in here, and a lot of honeys were lost in the process through accidents of hitting or trying to fill up water bottles when there's no longer campfires here. But as you can see, we have plenty of honey now, and might be eating this from now on instead of carrots. But it's pretty easy. You just pull it out, switch it into bottles, go up here, throw the bottles in here, and it will automatically refill all of the dispensers. So if we take a look behind the wall here, we'll see that the nests are right here in the hives, and then there's a one block, and then the comparators can read through this one block into the hive. So then we just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 redstone, and once it's totally full, it will reach this fifth one, powering the dispensers, which are full of bottles. So are these hoppers, and since these are full of bottles, when they activate, it fills up the honey, and since it can't go back in here, it just dispenses it out. And then below these, we have hoppers, which go all the way over here to a dropper. So sometimes it will squirt out and it won't be picked up, which is unfortunate, but it's very rare that I find that. Anyways, so once it comes over here, the comparator reads, boom, activates, and it's inside the chest now. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And the thing I'm working on right now is the farm down here. So the problem we were having is, if you guys ever saw the little black carts when they were up here, that is because they were stopped. And so right now I'm working on that. And so I'll take you into my testing world to figure out what we're gonna do to fix this. So the most intriguing part about this is that it would only happen on certain rows, and once they're stuck, they're stuck. But it wasn't happening on all of them, which got me and Josh sort of confused. And it got me on this idea that full minecarts and empty minecarts go at different speeds. And in my head, I already knew that like empty minecarts and player minecarts go at different speeds and go for different lengths of time. So here we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stacks in each of these hopper minecarts. And make any predictions you want on which one's going to go the furthest. I'll give you a couple seconds. In my head, I just thought they all went the same, which might be what you guys think too. But as we do this, you'll understand sort of why some of them would get stuck and some of them wouldn't. So if you look here, the full minecarts actually go the least, which sort of intrigued me because in my head it would be the full ones that would have been getting stuck. but actually, as you can see over here, we think it is the empty ones that would get stuck up in there. To make it more manageable and easier to predict and make sure that they don't get stuck between like the crevice here of 2 blocks, we decided to make it flat. And the problem I was having is getting it to stop between the two when this one is when these 2 rails aren't powered. So as you can see here, this is full, so this is like the most consistent it can be. But if we move it even like 1 closer, it doesn't go far enough. And this is the problem I was having, so that when you power it again, it doesn't know which way to go. So this is why I came up with the one, well, I didn't come up, I just added rails until it worked. So now, boom, and it works every time. So this is the system we're gonna go with. As you can see, if we just put an empty one on there, it does the same. It actually goes a little further, which I think is fine because it's empty. It doesn't really matter. But there is slight differences in here because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. And in our world, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here I sort of scrapped this, well, didn't scrap it, but stripped it down so that there's no hoppers sucking it out, and that I can manually set this one off without setting the whole system off. So the reason for the change is if you look at the end right here, you'll notice that when I hit the button, it's actually coming to a stop right here, obviously, because it's hitting a block. So that it's actually coming from a complete standstill, and then it would take 7 powered rails from a complete standstill to get it in the exact right spot. But if you look at ours right here, obviously it's not hitting a block. So since we're already having speed coming into this, I just did some testing, which is why I stripped this one down to have no hoppers sucking it out so I can test it. If we send it and wait a couple seconds, we will see that it stops perfectly right where I want it. So because I already have speed coming in, I just took off 2 from the 7, made it 5, and then it stops perfectly. Just kept testing until I got the right amount of powered rails. And so now I'm going to go through and change the rest of these from 7 and 2 away from this to 5 and only 1 away. This should make it more consistent and be able to pick up every single bamboo that gets dropped out there. So now that we're inside of Josh's super smelter, I want to talk about some unforeseen complications with renovating. Now that it is picking up all that bamboo and sending it, we're getting a lot more through here, which is good that we can keep this stocked and make sure that we don't run low. But at the same time, it was overflowing these 2 hoppers that were supposed to pick up the extras and put it into here. So I went ahead and just added a lot of hoppers to sort of backstock for one, and to also like be able to keep these top ones empty to be able to pick more up. So the reason I changed it from the 2 to the 4 is because 1, 4 is it's sort of double the space as just having 2, but also having this sort of formation here. When they fly in, the first one will pick up most of them, and then they'll hit this cake. Before I had a chest here, but if you have a chest on top of the hopper doesn't actually pick up items, even if it's like over it. So I put a cake here so that it would still suck up items. So then it hits that, and then it goes over, then this one picks it up, and then this. This creates like a whole line They do, if it overflows, it still sits on top of this one. But since these are still pulling out, it still shoves it in fast enough that this will hopefully keep up with incoming bamboo. And I'll test that after Josh here is done with the overflow system. So right now he is developing. I don't want to say it's finished because I want to make sure both systems are in the right spot before I say, oh, here's what it looks like. So I have everything patched up, repaired, and it's all looking the same now. So we're just gonna give it a little test run. And that lovely roar is a good sound. So I'm going to go below here, take a look at it. Definitely looks like it's working, and they're picking up items. That's a little, I guess there's no bamboo in this spot, hopefully. There's a little, which is sad. I might add a bigger delay, because sometimes it gets stuck on top or in that row, something or other. So I sort of want to give a bigger delay, or even just have another pulse when it comes back. Send out another pulse to resend it out, or only start it when it does get back. Either way, we'll figure out a better system so that some of these don't get stuck here. So it doesn't look like I've done a lot, but I guess all of my time has been sort of mining sand and smelting it all for the glass bottles and the honey farm. And I guess the big stuff is yet to come. I still have to do the water streams, which I'll probably do off camera, and the on and off switches. But I sort of want to show you guys how I plan to do that. So I think that's what we'll head into next, is to work on these switches and find out where we're going to put them and how they're going to work. Most of my work I put in here. I tried to make the chest just look a lot better with the wood. I even put the wood behind the hoppers back there. And we have a lever over here, on and off. Right now it's on, it's pouring in. I can show you that real quick. Just hop over here. There's just some sticky pistons with glass. That goes down, powers a redstone, which powers in the middle of all of those is a block, and then it extends them all. And then when I retract it, it pulls it back up. Pretty easy. Looks like I need to light it, or block it up there though. I'll fix that. Don't worry about it. So another thing that I've been working on is this big tube coming out of the ground. And if we get one of them dying soon, you'll see that all the items flow in here. That's the guy that's up there. Don't worry, none of them are missing. You'll see the items flow in here, and they all get funneled into the middle, and then they get shot up and pop out there and into there, and then they'll get transported over and into the system. So I thought this was pretty cool, the way that it just flows in. I didn't want just some, normal looking one. I wanted one that actually had like a flow to it and was able to not be like the same thing over and over again. So that's why I designed it this way, so that the items can flow freely through a couple blocks. And they sort of zigzag, and then some get shot past, some go up. I just thought it was a neat idea. And then they all do a cool jump over and then into the mountain. So from over there, it comes out of the mountain here, and they get shot over and up. If we take a look back here, the iron comes up here, so that's where I was showing before. It comes up, you'll see it come over, and then you'll see it come up and into the hoppers. And then they flow across the hoppers, which it seems one of my signs got destroyed. And then they flow over, up, and then they flow back, just in case we get too much for the hoppers. It is a cycle, which in my head at the time made sense, but I think I'll take that out of the rest of them. Just because if we're overflowing on those back there, it's because these are already full and they're flowing past, so just making it a loop doesn't make it go anywhere. I don't know what I was thinking when I built this. But for the rest of them, I probably won't do that. Josh made the bamboo one. It comes out of the mountain here. I think he just did it real quick because I had him do an overflow. So this button has a line behind it that goes all the way over here. And it hooks in to our system over here. So I changed this up slightly. So the button actually powers 4 different repeaters. So this repeater powers the flying machine like usual. But this line that comes from all the way over there, when I press the button, it powers this piston, but also this line here. It comes all the way down and hooks in right here. And so it launches all the minecarts that are under the bamboo. And so if I only want bamboo, I click that button, it powers all the minecarts connected to the bamboo and the flying machine that is associated with the bamboo. I also plan on doing the same thing with the sugarcane, which is why I already have it set up on the lower side to do the exact same thing. So this guy only powers to, it actually includes the sugarcane, but I still have this button which does both. So here we have the storage system starting to come into full effect here, with the lever being able to turn off the iron, because it does come in quite fast here, and don't want to get overwhelmed. If these fill up, we can just easily flick the button and it turns off, or flick the lever. We also have this button here, and we'll have a button above on the next cubby. I don't know what to call it. Our next station, so this next one will also have a button. We'll have that get the sugarcane part of that farm. And then this top one will just be the gunpowder coming in. I might switch that too. We don't know yet. Right now, it's not fully set in stone. Well, it sort of is set in the stone. Anyways, it's not fully like this is where they're gonna be. We just sort of have these temporary things that are sort of easy to move around. So right now we're gonna have it one way, but I don't know, we might want the gunpowder to be in an easier location, like on this first row. But I'll talk to Josh about that later, and probably just switch that up between episodes if we're gonna do that. But be sure to check out Josh's episodes. He's really been working on terraforming and making this look a lot better. He has big plans for over there, and we want to get all this complete before our 10th episode, because if you remember on the first episode, we talked about our plans with maps. And if we go up here, he has the first map of episode 1 here. For the future on episode 10, we're going to redo this, and hopefully can see our progress. So make sure to stay tuned with Josh, because I know he has a lot of plans for over there, and to make that look a lot better. But I think that's it for us today on this episode. Don't tell Josh. I'm just gonna work on the storage system off camera and finish up the next 2. I think next episode we'll work on the creeper farm to be able to actually get a good source of rockets. Also, sort of a catch up on the bee farm. It is producing so much honey. I I mean, it's nice to have. Don't get me wrong. When I got on this morning to continue on my building, both those were full. So I might have to make those double chests. I also might just add like an on-off switch for it to be able to not have so much honey coming in. Right here, you can just see how much honey I got this morning. So I do plan on switching from carrots to honey to eat that because, well, it's pretty much renewable for me. I might give some to Josh. I could probably give him like a whole chest at some point. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. So do you know anything about this game?
I've seen gameplay of the like tutorial level and the first level, and then I stopped because I wanted to play it.
How was your day?
Okay, that's more than me.
Toaster broke.
Smart little kid.
It says here,
Mhm.
love is work, see? You have to work on it.
Except the
You
fact
can't
that
just give up.
she's talking to dolls instead of her real parents.
Mom,
Man,
Dad,
silly children.
I wish
know.
you could be friends again.
Take the book to them and be like, hey,
Hey.
Mom, Dad, it takes work.
Could you imagine your kid coming up to you and being like, "Yo,
Oh.
what even were those?
I don't know. Go across.
Go across." Oh no!
Oh,